What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Day Route YouTube channel. I am your host, as always, Kevin Coleman, and we are back. A little bit of fun things that we're doing on this channel this starting in April is we're going to be looking at the 2024 class. So, Christian's been breaking down some guys. I'm going to be breaking down some guys. We're going to be looking at kind of these guys projecting forward. And the first guy that I'm going to be talking about today is Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy. So we're going to be looking at the quarterback position. Christian did a great Drake Maye video. I'm going to be looking at Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy. And one of the reasons why is most people that follow this channel know I'm a big Michigan fan. But with that comes a lot of criticism because I've watched these guys and I've probably watched every throw that J.J. McCarthy's ever thrown. And from a high school perspective, as someone who is high on him coming out of high school, I wrote articles about him coming out of high school. I have a pretty good perspective of J.J. coming out and what he is at Michigan. So we're going to be looking at everything. We're going to be going through numbers. We're going to be going through like his film breakdown. I'm going to be looking at like what I'm looking for in 2023, schedule, and a little bit of a player comp, what maybe he could be with his ceiling. We'll be doing that right after the intro. So you know the drill. Hit that like and subscribe button, and then we'll jump into it. All right, so let's get into JJ and kind of talk about him as a prospect. And you see it on the thumbnail, like the next Matthew Stafford. Could he be that? And that is not like clickbait. To me, I actually, had him kind of compared to Matthew Stafford coming out of high school. Like I really did. And I looked at it from those numbers. You could check the receipts on my articles over at Fantasy Pros when I was talking about him. But let's go into the numbers. So let's go through, and these numbers are from PFF, so got to give them credit. From offensive grade perspective, 77.7, is PFF offensive grade. When you go through the numbers, though, and you dive a little deeper, his best games were against Hawaii and Colorado State, which Colorado State didn't throw that, had four completions. Hawaii, not very good. Then Rutgers, and then Penn State, and UConn, Indiana. So, and Purdue. So we're not talking about high-level defenses. His worst games was Maryland, Illinois, Nebraska, Ohio State, Iowa, and TCU. They were 65, and his worst was Maryland. He had a 48 offensive grade there. And so when you're looking at that, like, I think one thing that stands out is like he does very well against poor opponents, but he can struggle against better opponents. And I think that's something to note about his profile. 5.5% big time throw, which is okay. It's not amazing. But when you're looking at it overall, he did have some big numbers there. We did see that against like Ohio State and Iowa and even TCU. He had some big time throw there for his percentage. Turnover worthy play, 3.4%, puts him in okay. He's average in terms of whether his turnover worthy play. I will say that they've limited his attempts. So you see his attempts there per game. So we saw that at different times. They did protect him a lot. So when you think of turnover worthy play, I don't necessarily think that's that high based on that. But they do a good job of scheming that. And then, I think the big red flag in his numbers and in his advanced stats is his offensive grade under pressure. 42.0 is not good. He does struggle under pressure, and we have seen that. And as someone who's watched every single one of his throws, it is something that he definitely does struggle with. So we're going to be talking about kind of what that looks like under his, things, the areas that improve. But these are his numbers. So when we're looking just at his numbers straight up, like looking through like what we've seen from him, those are what we see. Now you'll see the raw numbers there. So the box score numbers, as they like to call it, you see his games got, improved. You saw that there's a passer. He did improve from his freshman year. Obviously, he split time. Well, K. McNamara really started. He came in at spot duty. But then you look at it from a rushing upside, he does have that. So 70 attempts, 306 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So that's basically his numbers from a raw perspective and in his advanced numbers, right? Now, when we're watching the film, I've watched all 22 from this last season. I've seen everything that you need to see from him as a quarterback. Some of his strengths, out of structure playmaking. I think that is a very big strength of his ability to go on out of structure and especially kind of make things happen with his legs outside the pocket. Like he does that very well. When he does that, it actually excites me when I watch him play because he can actually do that really well. And I think he makes his best throws on the run. And when you're watching that, he tends to have those grades, right? Athleticism and pocket awareness. Like I do think he's an athlete. So he's a little bit better athlete than Stafford from what we look at from the rushing numbers, right? If we're going to compare the two, but he does have that athleticism component, his functional athleticism inside and outside the pocket awareness. I actually think he does maneuver really well in the pocket. And when there is pressure, he knows how to get away from that pressure from the edge, from linebackers, those type of things. He does that really well. Now, the other thing that I think he does well, and from the spring game, from what I watched, his ability to layer the ball at multiple levels. Like I think he does a good job from the intermediate to deep range, especially on the numbers. And he made a couple great throws in that spring game where that's going to be that improvement. I think he does it already really well. I don't know, his accuracy deep was something that we'll work on, but I think he does layer the ball at multiple levels. He can get it to areas and over defenders. He has touch. He shows that good accuracy, and he definitely improved that from his high school tape from his senior year all the way to this last year, sophomore year. He definitely has improved that area. Now, let's talk about improvement areas that you want to see him do. So from the film, one big thing is downfield accuracy. He really struggles with that, especially from the pocket. Like he misses guys so many times, and he did hit some guys. So Ohio State game, he definitely hit some guys there, and but it's just inconsistent. So his downfield accuracy is something that he has arm strength. It's just he has an inability to get the guys on the numbers. Like he does not get into the hands. There are areas on the outside that he misses them deep, those type of things. Like downfield accuracy is definitely a big component of that. Decision making. There are times where he makes those decisions. There are some bad interceptions that he had. Penn State interception comes to mind. Some of those throws that he makes. Like sometimes his decision making is based on his athletic ability and what he thinks his strengths are, rather than what the right play is. And I think that's something to note when you look at JJ from a passing perspective. Now, I will say a lot of this comes from his mechanics under pressure. You saw his under pressure grade. That is not good. He struggles. His mechanics definitely break down on the film when he is under pressure. That is something that is there. It's legitimately on his tape that you have to look at, that he's got to get better at. He's got to be able to go up and make throws in the pocket. I think because of his athleticism, he uses that athleticism, gets the outside, and he makes good throws on the run. And he does have that, and that's part of his strengths, like the out of structure playmaking. But he's got to learn at the next level. If he wants to be an NFL draft prospect, he's got to have mechanics under pressure. He's got to fix that, because that's something that is a big red flag in his categories. Now, overall, what we're looking for next season. So what are we looking for next season? So for me, just looking at it from just the perspective of him as a prospect, because I think there's a question mark about JJ moving forward. Can JJ be the QB3 of the class behind Maye and behind Caleb Williams? Will he be behind those guys, or will he come back for a senior year? Right. And I think that could be a big, it's a big question mark right now. One thing I need to see him do, just like we talked about, he's got to improve under pressure, right? So when you're looking at those big games that they're going to have in the Big Ten, and you're Ohio State again, at home, what is that going to look like under pressure? Can he and against defensive pressure too? Will he be able to make the big throws? He's going to get him on the number. I want to see him take over games. I don't want him just to manage games. Now, he does have a good supporting cast in terms of his running backs. So we're talking about Corum being back, when he's healthy 100%, Donovan Edwards, Benjamin Hall, Kokomata, they had a lot of good guys on that offense, and especially in that running back room. They're going to have guys there that are able to kind of elevate his game. But can he take over a game? Can he go win a game? TCU, he put up big numbers in the playoff. He had 2 touchdowns. He had those 2 costly interceptions, 343 yards. He did not take over that game, and we needed him to. We needed him as a program, as Michigan fans and everything, that we wanted to see that. So can he take over those games? I think that's the big thing for JJ. And then he's got to elevate his supporting cast. So we're going to take a look at that supporting cast and show you what it looks like. But he's got to elevate that wide receiver room, right? Can he elevate those guys to be legitimate prospects at that next level, at the college level, at that NFL level, right? Like, will he be able to do that? The best NFL guys do. So will he be able to elevate his supporting cast? So let's take a look at that. So what I want to kind of do on these videos is like, hey, break down what they are, numbers. Let's look at that. But then let's give the context. Let's get the team context of what we see. And now we do this on our Patreon. So we have a Devy manifesto, and you can find it under below and look there what we see from this. So here is his number. So here's the depth chart, and here's everything we have. So we have JJ there. You'll see that. Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards are there. CJ Stokes. We understand that they have a really strong running back room. Let's look at the wide receivers, though. Cornelius Johnson, what is he going forward, right? You see him last year, 490 yards and 6 touchdowns. Not crazy numbers. Roman Wilson, AJ Henning, Darius Clemens, Tyler Morris, Marion Walker, Christian Dixon. Then you have Morgan and Moore and English guys coming in. He's got to elevate that. AJ Barner's transferring over, Colson Loveland. So you're looking at that room. What does that look like in terms of from a JJ McCarthy perspective? Like, what can he do moving forward? Can he elevate those teams? Now, this is a legitimate playoff team again. So can he lead us to the playoffs? Can he beat Ohio State again, another Big Ten title? And look at that, right? And if you're looking at the numbers for the team, you see it there. Pass percentage was 120th in the country. And part of that is JJ McCarthy, right? Pass attempts per game is 113th. Will he do more? Will it just be a rushing attack like you see there? Or are they going to elevate it and actually do that? And that's up to JJ. And he's got to take that next step to be that NFL level prospect, right? Now, when we're looking at the schedule and what that kind of shakes out to, You'll see it here. Again, not very good opponents in out of conference. East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green. He should have very big games there. Rutgers has been down for a while, but then they have a big game against Nebraska. Matt Rule coming in. What is that going to look like? That's going to be their game to tell. Minnesota is always a tough game. Indiana shouldn't be as tough, but we'll see. Then we have a rival game in Michigan State, Purdue, and then Penn State, Maryland, Ohio State. Really, that's the schedule sets itself up for them being undefeated to go against Ohio State again. And if JJ can step at that and win another game, go again and get another Big Ten championship and elevate his numbers, then you're looking at a QB3 of this class. And that's kind of his ceiling, right? Now, I wanted everybody to take a look at this because we talked about could he be the next Matt Stafford? And it's not a clickbait title. I really believe that when you look at the numbers overall from their first two seasons, I added that. So you see his first two seasons there with Stafford on the underneath. Pretty similar, completion percentage, not as great. The numbers didn't really stand out. I will say the one thing about Stafford is his arm strength, probably a little bit better than JJ coming out. But when you look at the raw numbers and you're looking at just the numbers there, like that second to third year bump that you see there from Stafford could be JJ, right? If he kind of improves of a passer, probably was a little bit of a better passer as a sophomore than Matthew Stafford was. And he is a better athlete. So he has that athleticism out there. Like maybe he's going to take that elevated step to where you see, Stafford's draft capital, first round, first pick, what the Lions took him. Maybe JJ gets into that category of like, hey, he's good enough to be a first round NFL draft pick. And I think Stafford's career trajectory and what they tried to run at Georgia is a little bit similar to what Michigan tries to run with that running back, room and attack. So I think it's an interesting comp. I think it's a comp that makes sense. And can he be that guy that elevates his game his junior year, steps up, and then goes and gets drafted in the first round? And that's really what you're looking for out of JJ moving forward in this process. And this quarterback class is, one of these classes that, we're been trying to highlight. So we appreciate you guys. Let me know in the comments. What do you think of JJ? Do you think JJ is the quarterback 3? We've done a Caleb Williams. Christian did a Caleb Williams breakdown. We did a Drake Maye breakdown. And now we have JJ on here for this 24 class. Are you excited about this 24 class? Are there some players that you like to see? Like, drop it in the comments. Are there guys that you want to highlight from the 24 class that we haven't done? It could be any position, but obviously the quarterback position is what we're kind of focusing on right now. Let me know in the comments. We appreciate you guys like always. Hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want more content like this, go check out Patreon underneath. $3 a month, and you can do that. So appreciate you guys. I will check you guys next time.